June 28th. I get this ominous knock. And on the other side of the door are two FBI agents.
Edward Snowden's revelations about the U.S. far-reaching surveillance program has sparked increased interest in encrypted communication. Email provider Lavabit came under government scrutiny after it was revealed it had been used by Snowden himself.
My name is Ladar Levison. I'm a programmer, an enthusiast, a geek, a tinkerer, an activist, an advocate, and an American. The idea of classified information in this country came about in order to protect the locations and the launch codes for nuclear weapons during the Cold War, and to take that same structure and apply it to law enforcement activities, it's certainly a step down the road towards tyranny. After this interview, I'm hopping on a train and heading down to Richmond, Virginia. My case will finally be heard by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. For the first time, we'll have a public hearing where lawyers for both sides can stand up and debate whether or not the government has the right to access everyone's communications without any kind of oversight. What's at stake is just how far the government can compel a private company to go to assist it in conducting its surveillance activities. If we rewind to 2004, when Gmail's announced, I'm sitting around with some friends of mine, and we thought, well, heck, we could put out a kick-butt webmail system with a big quota as well. We don't like the fact that Gmail profiles your email messages and your search history to give you targeted advertisements. And it was during that very same period that we started seeing all of those headlines about how, as a result of the Patriot Act, the FBI could effectively demand the private information of a business's customers without any kind of judicial review. So I started thinking, well, can I use my knowledge and my understanding of encryption to build a system that would allow users to access their messages, but prevent me from being able to access those messages? I used a technology that's an industry standard called SSL. It wrapped all the plain text information inside a tunnel of encryption, such that from that point forward, somebody could only read that message if they knew the plain text of the user's password. And that was the birth of what would eventually become Lavabit. We saw a huge surge in registrations. I think we topped out over around 6,000 or 7,000 new users in a single day. A number of people who were now all of a sudden aware of what was going on were seeking a service that really focused on privacy. We were entering her golden era. The FBI agents wanted to collect content, they wanted to collect passwords, presumably so that they could decrypt the messages that had already been stored on the servers. And I pointed out that all of the sensitive information that they wanted to collect was going to be protected by SSL. And that's when they dropped the hammer and said, well, then you'll have to turn over your SSL key. If they can compel us, turn those keys over and give them unfettered access to everyone's information, it will certainly be a dark day for freedom. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'll just get the judge on the phone, explain to him how important these keys are, how they belong to my business, not to the user, that my business has not been accused of any kind of wrongdoing, and that therefore the Fourth Amendment should protect these keys from any kind of demand or seizure by the government. Well, what he really meant was, if you don't turn over these keys, we're gonna drag you 1,000 miles away from home and make you appear without counsel in front of a judge who has the authority to empty your bank accounts and throw you in jail. It was a Saturday evening before I had to appear in court. I hadn't been able to find a lawyer at that point. I'm out playing volleyball in the sand. It's a beautiful sunset, and I'm sitting around with my friends afterwards enjoying a beer, and it hit me. I was looking at become complicit or go to jail. And in that moment, I was scared. I asked the court for permission to reveal the details. I made those demands twice, and I lost. The government was guarding the nature of what it was doing, not because it would harm their ability to conduct investigations, but quite simply because the people who authorized these types of activities didn't want to pay the political cost for their actions. They knew America would disapprove, and they thought they could avoid paying that price politically if they kept it a secret. I decided that if I had to turn over my SSL private key, and that I had to do it in secret, the only choice was to shut down the service. But at the same time, I couldn't explain to the people I was hurting why I was doing what I was doing. So I had to craft a message. I accused them of committing crimes against the American people, and that by forcing me to participate in this crime and do it secretly, they were turning me into an accomplice. We're talking about a very sensitive piece of information that belongs to the business, that I really took it as my responsibility as an administrator to protect. My grandfather owned a small chain of toy stores. My other grandfather, a jewelry store. My father has his own small business dealing in antiques. We're a family of entrepreneurs. We love, we live the American dream. It was this experience seeing the government's attitude towards private businesses and how willing they were to force them into becoming complicit in their surveillance activities that prompted me to say, we can no longer trust the products and the services of companies that have a physical tie to the United States. I had over 50 million emails stored on my system when I shut it down. I still have the servers, but they are all blank. They've been securely wiped, and all of that data has been moved off to external, fully encrypted drives. Everyone talks about me turning over the keys in paper form. The reason I did that, now it would have been a laborious process. They certainly would have made typos that they would have had to go back and locate it. While they were typing those keys into the computer, I could be moving people's data off onto those encrypted drives. I don't think I was the first company to shut down in the face of an overzealous FBI investigation. And I'm certainly not the last. There have been several other companies that have shut down their service because they can no longer guarantee the security and the privacy of those services while operating in the US. One of those companies that got linked in the media with Lavabit's shutdown was Silent Circle, because they decided to terminate their encrypted email service within 24 hours of my decision. It wasn't until almost a month and a half after I shut down that I was finally able to catch up with the CEO of Silent Circle, Mike Jenke. We both understood how insecure email is, and that there really was no way to fix the security of the existing protocols in a way that would protect it from the types of threats we now know exist. But we also said, hey, between the two of us, we have the resources, the skills, and a big enough soapbox to create a replacement for email that is secure end-to-end. So even though there's a service provider in the middle, no matter what they are threatened with, they will never be able to compromise the sanctity of the messages that pass through their network. So I raised $180,000 on Kickstarter. Kickstarter will tell you it was $210, but I lost a little bit to fees. On a project we would later call Darkmail that would create this new set of protocols, this new set of standards, and the applications to utilize them so that we could bring email privacy back to the world. The problem with disrupting our right to privacy is that at the same time we do that, we disrupt our right to free speech. And without the ability to speak freely, a democracy is no longer a democracy.